Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Football Manager 2018 with Zebu Nation. This is Loser to Legend with CLYDE FC, and today we have for you the three-quarter season update in Ladbrokes League 1, Season 7, all that stuff. The year is 2024, way into the future. Anyway, let's get right to it. Let's take a look and see where we are at after 27 games. We're in third place. 12 wins, 8 draws, 7 losses, a total of 44 points, and a 17 plus 17 goal differential. So we're looking pretty good. We're in the playoffs, and that's where the board wants us to finish. That's where we were predicted to finish. So we're looking pretty good, pretty solid. We are a full 9 points clear of the bottom of the league. So in terms of staying in promotion, we're probably going to stay in promotion playoffs unless we fall off the cliff. Now, automatic promotion is maybe a little bit out of our reach right now because we're 12 points behind Wraith for that automatic spot with 9 games to go. So it's still doable, but it's on the outside edge of doable. We could possibly catch Brecken for the second place. They're only 6 points ahead of us, but I don't know that second place gets us anything other than a slightly better playoff game. So it looks like we're going to be heading towards the playoffs unless there's another late season collapse, which hopefully we can avoid that. But anyway, other than that, not a lot going on. We've just been sort of slogging our way through this season and trying to get things going, trying to hold this team together as best we can. So in terms of stats and all that kind of stuff, there's not a lot going on. We don't have anybody at the top of the list in goals, although in team-wise, we're doing pretty good. I guess we could look at team stats. The only individual stats we have right now is we got Craig Potts, our loanee from Ross County, the striker. He's second in the league in assists right now with 9 assists, so that's pretty good. We're second in the league in injuries with only 3, but that's nothing compared to what's happening at Queen's Park right now. They got 9 injuries, and that could be some of the reason why they are stuck at the bottom of the table right now. Just having that many guys injured at this level is pretty tough. At any level, honestly. If you have 9 players on your roster injured, that's going to hurt quite a bit. So anyway, we can take a quick look at team stats and just run down real quick. We are third in the league in goals. That's what I was talking about. We're scoring lots of goals. 45 goals on the season. The leader is, of course, Wraith at 47. Headers, we're second in the league in headers, so we're winning those headers on the back line. We've also added a new player who's helped us out, and we'll talk about that in a minute. We're 8th place in average possession, have not been playing great possession soccer this year. 7th in tackles won, not great. This blows my mind. I was not prepared for this. Number 1 in goals allowed at only 28 on the season. That seems incredible to me. It doesn't seem right that we would be third in goals and first in goals allowed. But the other teams aren't too far behind us. Brecken with 29, Wraith with 31. So, I mean, overall, offensively, defensively, we are playing very well. It's just Wraith is playing that much better, and they're actually getting wins where maybe occasionally we're losing out and getting draws and things like that. So they're just playing slightly better than the rest of the league, and hats off to them, I guess. They do have the most shutouts in the league with 14, and Brecken with 11. We've only got 9. So that shows that maybe we've let a few games slip through our fingers here and there by not being able to hold out and get the shutout. Most fouls, we're third in the league. Most passes completed, we are not on the list, which is pretty bad in a 10-team league. You can't make the top 8. It's pretty bad. 7th in crosses. That's no good, only 12% of our crosses. And we are 7th in shots on target, which is very bad. I really like to be up closer to the 45% mark. So to be below 40%, it means some people are shooting who should not be shooting. That's, I think, one of our problems. But anyway, form-wise, you can see Wraith, they are undefeated in their last 5. We're 3-2 in our last 5, 3 wins, 2 losses, no draws, and Sterling is on pretty good form, 4-1 in their last 5. So we're looking okay. Our stats are surprisingly good. But other than that, I just feel like the season is kind of bogging down a little bit, and I don't know exactly what to do. But I did make one move in the offseason, or not even in the transfer window, because it was a free pickup. But anyway, let's get to that. Let's run down the checklist and get to what I'm talking about. So under 20s, not so good. We've rated the under 20s again, brought up another player. So we'll look at him in a minute. Finances, we had one interesting thing happen in the finances. As you can see over here, in terms of our profit, we had a huge spike last month, and that was because the board injected $500,000 into our payroll budget, and we are looking at dollars. So let's change that real quick. You know how we do. Switching back and forth. There we go. Go back to pounds. I always forget to do that. It's just like the minor details of life. All right. There we go. So they injected, 380,000 pounds, I guess. That brought our debt down significantly down to 320,000 pounds. So that's something maybe we could pay off next season, especially with our payroll budget is going to shrink next season. You can see our payroll budget is going to be down to 450,000, which is still more than we're currently spending, so that's not too bad. Other than that, we're still making a loss and all that stuff, but board confidence, of course, is still good. We're secure right now, 59%. Board confidence, they are loving club finances and everything else. Competition performances, League One, they're looking pretty good, 58%. What do they got to say about that? Board is pleased that the team is currently on course to reach promotion. So that's good, or at least promotion playoffs. That's all we need to do is just get in the playoffs. Scottish Cup, Betford Cup, Iron Brew Cup, they don't really care about that. It's all about the League One. Match performance, down a little bit. We had a loss in the last game. So what are they concerned about? El Bazzetti? Yeah, under consideration. Yeah, considering. Yeah. His place in the first team is definitely under consideration, and meaning that he doesn't really have a place in the first team, and he wants to be traded. But anyway, go to the club here. Still looking pretty much the same as ever. McCullough is still our hot prospect. Still okay finances. 1.5 stars, all that stuff. General, we are not on the list. I don't think we'll be on the list unless we get promoted. That's pretty much our lot in life at the moment. News, not a lot going on with news. Critchley is back. There have been some rumors of us going to different teams here and there. The latest rumors are air, but we just sort of tell the press we got nothing. We got no news on that. So I don't know. The board stays happy with us, whatever. We got contracts coming up. We got a few months left until the end of the season, so people keep coming to me about in the media. The media keeps coming to me and saying, what about this guy? What about that guy? Is he going to sign? Is this guy going to sign? And I don't know. We got to figure that out in the off season, who we're going to sign and who we're not going to sign, because we're definitely going to slash the payroll dramatically at the end of this season because we got a lot of contracts coming up. So we'll see exactly who stays and who goes is kind of up in the air right now. And that brings us to transfers, of course. Our fitness coach is looking at transferring out. Ian Gibson, the guy we promoted from sports scientist up to fitness coach, because he's actually a pretty good fitness coach. 12 fitness coach, 13 discipline. It's pretty good. He's actually one of the better coaches on our staff, and so St. Johnstone from the Premiership is swooping in to pick him up, and I mean, who could blame him if he left? So we'll get 2.7 thousand pounds as compensation for him, I guess, when he leaves. But anyway, what we really want to look at is transfer history. Where'd he go? Oh, yeah. So we picked up 2 players picked up Douglas Hartford from St. Mirren, 22-year-old, another midfielder. We've got a lot of midfielders, but this guy can play defensive midfielder, and he's pretty decent defensive midfielder, 12 tackling. He's got pretty decent physicals, decision-making, teamwork, bravery, aggression. So he's a young guy who can run around and make a lot of tackles at defensive midfielder, and he's just a little bit of a step up over Cudahy at the defensive midfield position. Definitely physically a step up. So, we've had him in there a few times, and he's played okay. But we got him on loan from St. Mirren. I don't know if I mentioned that. I think I did. But anyway, the real difference maker was an old friend of ours, Cairn Driver. And this guy, he was on loan with us last season, I want to say. Actually, last 3 seasons he was on loan with us. Had 15 appearances last season, 4 goals, 5 assists. So he played pretty well for us, but he didn't want to come back and sign a contract with us, and they didn't want to loan him back to us for some reason. I think they wanted to loan him back to us, but at like his full salary. So we said no to him. But then I was looking around in the free agent pool, and he was in there. He got let go from St. Mirren. So we swooped in. We picked him up on a pretty nice contract. I mean, a pretty $3,500 a year part-time contract. I mean, that is a lot less than what he wanted at the beginning of the season. I think at the beginning of the season he wanted like $14,000 or something like that. So we picked him up, and he's had a pretty big impact already. We'll take a look at that momentarily. Let's take a look at it right now. I mean, I guess we got his history sitting right here, right? He's had 6 appearances, 6 goals, 1 assist, 2 players of the match, 7.75 rating. And he's that target man we've needed. There's just been something missing from our offense recently. I mean, you wouldn't know it from our stats considering we got so many goals this season, but it just felt like there was something missing, and that something was the target man. And he's come in and made a huge impact in the last 6 games. As you can see, 6 goals in 6 games is pretty good. Can't ask for much more than that. So that's been a huge pickup for us at this third quarter of the season, and hopefully he can stay healthy for the second half of the season, and we can, maybe make some noise here in the second half and make a push for. Hopefully we can make some kind of push for automatic promotion. I don't see it happening, but if we can do that, if we can set that as the target, then we'll definitely stay in the promotion playoffs, and we'll definitely, overtake some of the other teams in the league and maybe finish second place. That would be excellent if we could finish second place. But anyway, he's had a huge impact. Another huge impact has been the medical center. You can see we've got a lot of guys with sort of nagging injuries. Macaulay and Critchley and Toniazzi recently back from injuries. Parks recently back from injuries. So, we've had several guys on the list, but we have guys on the list currently. Craig Murray, young central defender. I'd wanted to kind of get him some playing time because he's one of our better prospects, but he came in and got injured for a long time, for a month. Scott Lockheed has been playing well for us this season, but he got injured for even longer, torn hamstring. He's been out for 2 months. He's going to be out for 2 more months. So basically, we're very thin at attacking midfielder. And so that's why we brought up our number 1 prospect, Ronan McCullough. Brought this guy up from the under-20s. He came in, played a pretty decent game, and then in his second start, he broke his ankle, and he's out for a couple of months. So it's good getting Antoniazzi back from injury, but that made us do something else. That made us bring back a player from loan, and that was Ryan Potter, our previous hot prospect, 19 years old. He's been out on loan, playing pretty well, but honestly, we needed him. All of our attacking center mids were injured, and if we want to play anything other than the 4-2-4 wide, we need him in there. We need an attacking center mid. So he's in there now, and we're going to play him in today's game as we run down the schedule here, see how we got here. So let's see. The last game that you saw on camera was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Was the 2-2 draw versus Sterling? Does that ring a bell? Maybe the 1-1 draw versus Dumbarton? I don't know. One of those two we played in the last game, the last episode. And that was kind of the middle of a bad stretch where we were winless for several games. And that continued for a couple of more games. Forfar, we lost 2-0. That was terrible. Everybody looked pretty bad in that game. You can see our ratings were pretty mixed. Some decent ratings on defense, but our attack was pretty bad, pretty average. And this is where I was looking at our attack and saying it's bogging down. You know, we just can't manufacture goals when we need them. And so Forfar, they got out early on us and, you know, just never looked back. We could never generate anything. Then we had a 0-0 draw versus Peterhead, which was terrible. And then for Queen's Park, 2-0. This is when we went out and got Diver. And he made an immediate impact. Got a goal. 3 key passes. Take a look at his goals. And so this is where our season really started to change for the better. We started looking more confident, playing a little more confident. I think it was an easier part of the schedule, too. There's another driving rainstorm. There's Diver checking the ball forward to Andy Dallas, who crosses it to Potts, and he just buries it. Easy goal. But again, you can see the key pass came from that man, Diver, so that was outstanding. And then here's Leach. Leach has been playing very well. That wasn't a great pass. But Gray backs him up, gets it to Potts. Potts crosses it, and this is where we've needed the big target man to do stuff like that. Cross the ball in, let him just be bigger than everybody else and win the header and get a goal. And he's done that 6 times. It's been really good for us this season. So we went on a bit of a run after we signed him. We beat Stranraer 2-1. We beat Cumbernauld in a friendly just to sort of get some of our other guys back and fit. And then we played Wraith 1-0. We played very conservative in this game just because we didn't want to get blown out of the park. But we played them pretty tight, and they got away with a 57-minute penalty shot to win it. Because other than that, we had played them very even. So, you know, this helped us out. This said, okay, we can play with Wraith if we just play a little bit more conservatively. Don't go all out attack. Don't let them, you know, beat us on the back line easily and score those easy goals against us. So that was a pretty good, even though it was a loss, it was a pretty decent result. Then we came back and we beat Brecon in a big game. Big game. 2-1 over Brecon. And, you know, we scored early and then they came back and tied it up. We can take a look at the goals. This was a very important game because if we had lost this game, Brecon was, I think, 9 points up at us at the time. So if we had lost this, they would have gone 12 points up and just been out of reach. So that this win here brought it back to 6. And here's Diver, that man again, getting a goal on a through ball, not a cross. So he can do it all. He can score the headers. He can score through the through balls. So that's pretty good. And then here they are. It took them until the 53rd minute to get one back. Wallace to that guy, Samishade. I don't know how you say that, but anyway. He's a tough guy. We've played him before, and he scored a lot. So it's 1-1 going into the second half, and Peters gets a nice steal, and there's that man, Diver, again with his second goal. And again, that shows his versatility. He scored on a runner, he scored on a crossing header, and he scored there on a long shot. So he's a guy who gives us just a lot of firepower up front. Very good pickup. I'm very happy with myself for that one. Then we came back in our last 2 games. We beat Dumbarton 3-0. We just sort of smacked them around. Kenny Leach had had a goal. Oh, he had 2 goals. They called one an own goal. But this goes back to our penalty kick. Not our penalty kick, but our free kick decision to take Miller off free kicks. And Leach comes in and he scores 2. Left footer from the left side. Just top shelves it there against Hoban. Outstanding. And then this looks like a replay. It's not. It's the same. It's a different kick. This time they called it on Hoban. They called it an own goal, but that was a goal. I mean, come on. Off the crossbar, off the goalkeeper, and in. And then there's Davies winning the header down to himself and then scoring for the 3rd goal of the season. So a lot of people are playing pretty well right now. We had a bit of a bad match versus Loa, though. I was not happy about this. Loa is not very high in the competitions right now. They're 8th place. I mean, they are out of relegation, but not by a whole lot. And we just, I don't know. Our defense just failed us in this game. They got, we even scored early. Diver, again, 12-minute goal. And a 21st-minute goal. So Diver did everything he could, but the rest of the team around him just kind of failed. Our defense didn't play very well. Smith with a 6.2, Davies with a 6.1, Finlayson with a 6.4. Glover's back from injury, and he played okay. 7.0 rating is actually pretty good. But they just came back in the second half. 73rd minute goal and 80th minute goal. We just kind of fell apart at the end of the game, and I don't have any reasoning for why. Maybe we made our subs a little too late. As you can see, we waited till the 87th minute to make our subs. So we should have probably subbed in some guys, but I mean, we were winning all the way up to the 73rd minute. So I don't know exactly what to do there. Anyway, we got to bounce back from that today against Sterling. So we're going to go with the diamond formation. Hand that over to the assistant coach. It's on the road, so I think we're going to play a little counterattacking and see how that goes. Now, I'm not going to play Diver in this game. I'm going to bring him in off the bench just to give him a little bit of a rest. And, some of our other strikers are complaining about playing time, so we're going to get them in there and just see how that works out. So if they're not producing, if they're looking pretty bad in the first half, we can always bring Diver in off the bench and he can play the hero role for the game. But we got to keep everybody involved. We do have a lot of nice strikers, so we might as well keep everybody involved just in case of injuries or whatnot. So Ian Gibson, our fitness coach, has left. So that's a no good, especially with all these guys coming off injury. So we're going to have to go down to staff. Put out an ad. I guess we'll put out an ad for another fitness coach. I mean, that seemed to work. Steven Dahl. I mean, we're light training right now, so it's not that bad. We could use some defending coaching. Actually, we could use a lot of coaching. So I guess we'll put out for a general coach and see what we get. Place advert for coach. Maybe we can get a nice defensive coach. Whoa, I just hit the microphone. Or a nice tactical coach or techniques or something like that. I mean, whatever coach we get who's got like decent stats, I don't care what it is, honestly, we'll go for it. Search for coach begins. Let's go. At this level, I mean, we already have the best coaching staff in the league, even though it's not a great coaching staff, but it's as good as we're going to get. Let's see. So on the bench, we got Diver, we got Antoniazzi, Zata, Sinclair, Gorman, Lindsay, and Wilson. Going to give Parks a chance in goal, maybe. Yeah, he's not an injury risk. And I think Wilson lost in the last game. Like, he let in 3 goals in the last game. Yeah. So we're going to give Parks a chance and see what we can do with that. So let's submit that team. Cudahy's at defensive midfielder. I think we would rather have not Not Sinclair. No. No. Hartford. That's who we want in there. Our new Loney. There we go. He's a much better option. Ball winning. Put him on defense. So we'll have Cudahy coming off the bench. Because look at Cudahy's like super tired. 84%. He must have just played in an under 20 game. That's funny. Okay, well, that's fine. We'll keep him on the bench for morale purposes. He's been complaining a lot about playing time. We're probably going to have to let him go at the end of the season so he can continue his playing career elsewhere. Looks like they're going with the 4-3-3. That could be bad news. They got Gordon up here. There he is, Scott Gordon. 8 appearances, 4 goals, 7 assists. Highest average rating on the team at 7.53. Johnson. Can we see Johnson? What is he? He's probably their top goal scorer. There he is. 20 goals on the season. So we have got to watch out for that. And then their captain, Watson, is also up front. So they got a dangerous trio of strikers. Meanwhile, we are going with Parks in goal, Gray and Finlayson at the fullbacks, Glover and Davies at the central defense, Hartford, as you saw, Miller and Barry in the midfield, Potter up top, our loanee that we brought back, Peters and King up top. Peter King, the old Sports Illustrated writer, is up top in the dual striker positions. So let's go. Let's see what these guys can do. We know that Peters and King are a good combination. They've got some chemistry up there. So let's give a good performance. Let's end the pep talk. Let's set instructions. We're going to have to mark all of these strikers pretty closely. And then we're going to have to close down on their fullbacks. Looks like they've got an injured player in on central defense. That's probably no good. Doesn't look like their midfield is particularly coming forward, so we'll just leave them as they are and start the kickoff. Decent crowd here at Sterling. They're a team that should be better, honestly. I don't know what's wrong with Sterling, but they're just not performing these last few seasons. Here's Finlayson. Knock it forward, and there ends the highlight. Okay, that's good. So they got a couple of injured players. Okay, here's Finlayson again on the highlight. Chips it to Potter, gets it stolen. Water is going to start Sterling on the counterattack. Nope, there's Hartford. He sends it forward, loses it, but Miller's going to recover. Let's see what we're up to. Is our fullback going to actually get forward and give Miller a target? Nope, Miller's just going to have to send it into Peters. Is he going to cross it? He does. King with the goal. I told you they had some nice chemistry. Peters crossing it into King. Outstanding play. Miller just sort of limping around here looking for some support. Decides just to heck with it. I'm going to bash it into the box and see what happens. And there's Peters. It's like great timing. That was a little ballerina move by the goalkeeper. He missed out. That reminds me, since we don't have our target man in there, I want to make sure we got whipped crosses on there. Send it in low to these two strikers. None of this... we don't need to send it high. Give their central defense time. What's up with Cameron here? Returning to full fitness immediately. Same with this guy on the bench. So they might not be able to make it out of the full game, and hopefully they have to sub him out. I don't know how good he is. Cameron, do we know? He's a big dude. 6'3", 15 strength, 17 jumping reach. Yeah, he's pretty good. So if he can get out of there, I'd be more than happy for that to happen. All right, here we go. New highlight. Gray, throw in on the near side. Gets it to Potter. See what the young man can do. Drop it to Miller. That's a smart move. Barry looking forward. Peters open again. He had Miller open. Miller was rushing forward. Gray's going to send it in. And we lose possession there. Looks like here's a counterattack by Sterling. Nope. Glover in the cover position. Potter has it now to Barry. Barry forward to King. King surrounded, loses the ball. Another counterattack opportunity. Oh, Finlayson with a great defensive play. Drops it back to Davies. Pumps it forward. Gordon has it. McLeod K. Now here's Sterling on a proper attack. Sends it into the center. Wilson. Oh, that's terrible. And a terrible shot. Thank you, RNG gods, because that was just awful. He takes a bad shot and it gets deflected right to his man in scoring position, and he just chunks it wide. So that was tough. All right, so something I like to do against teams that run the 4-4-3. I kind of forgot about this. Is I like to run control against teams that run the 4-4-3 because they don't have as many players to win the ball back. They got those 3 strikers up top who don't typically come back to win the ball. So it makes it easier for you to control the game and just keep hold of the ball, because they, unless they go all in, get stuck in, just make crazy tackle attempts, they're not going to have as many men back to win the ball as you have going forward. Or at least not enough men back to, stop us, especially when we're in the diamond and we have that safety valve of the defensive midfielder. We can always just drop it back to him, and nobody usually covers him tightly, so we can keep possession all day in the diamond formation. And there we go. We just ran out the first half just like that. So that's a pretty good dressing room pep talk. I'm pleased with how things are going. Let's keep it up. Any analysis from our assistant coach? No. How are we looking team-wise? Overview, summary. There we go. Yeah, we're looking pretty good. Our defense is playing well. Lots of tackles. Scott Gray, fullback, also playing well. Barry, 86% pass completion. That's good. 91% pass completion for Potter, the attacking midfielder. That's what we need. So we're looking pretty good. We're just going to start the second half and see if we can run the clock out on these boys like we did in the first half. All out of tea, unfortunately. I think I got some water here, though. Always have to be properly hydrated. All right, so we're still in third place, but a win here, currently, looking at the league table, puts us only 3 points back of Brecon, who apparently aren't winning their game today. So that's pretty good. Have they already lost? They may have already lost. It's hard to tell. But anyway, the clock is just rolling now. 59 minutes. We're at the 60-minute point already. Gray is tired, and he's got a yellow, so we're going to get him out of there. Bring in Joe Gorman, who's a slightly better athletic talent anyway. He apparently either attacks or defends. He does not support, so we're going to put him in defense. We don't necessarily need him ranging forward. He doesn't give us a ton of offensive ability anyway. I mean, he's okay, I guess, but 6 dribbling. I don't really want him handling the ball. 7 first touch. He's got 8 crossing, which is okay, but why tempt fate at this point? 70 minutes and rolling. We are just keeping possession and just not letting them have the ball. They've made their third subs. Here they are with a corner kick. They head it down to lane. Oh, come on. Of course, the only way they can score on us is a set piece. Another goal from the corner. McGregor to Leon, and they tie it up. So that drops us back 5 points from Brecon. See what we can do here. Here's Parks. Boot one downfield. I really hate it that the goalkeepers send it to the wings when we're playing such a narrow formation. I don't know if there's any way to tell them not to do that, but Hartford bombs it downfield. Peters on the run. Nice shot. Gets us a corner out of it. Let's see if we can return the favor and get a corner goal against these boys. Miller, nope, drops it back to Peters. To Potter. He takes a shot. Guys were offside anyway. 77 minutes. I don't know if there's anybody we really want to sub out. King and Peters both playing pretty well. Assist for Peters, goal for King. I mean, we could bring in Diver at this point, but... Oh, there's a bad play. There's a bad turnover. Peters has it. He's going to take advantage. Gets it to King. King looking. He's going to drop it back to Finlayson. Finlayson gets it stolen. This is no good. Counter-attack. Watson, he beats Davies. He's got 2 men in front of the goal. Glover is there, though. Good man. Gorman's going to chase it down now. See if we can start another attack. He just bombs it forward to nobody, but King's racing for it. The defense just, I don't know what they did. But King to Peters. Chips it back for King. Heads it back for Peters. Okay, boys. Okay, we're going to bring in Jiver for King. Just because I didn't like the looks of that. It was not really what I wanted to see out of King. You know, when you're one-on-one like that, you get the breakaway. The defense falls asleep, quite frankly. You got to take advantage of that, especially in a tight 1-1 game. So we'll see. I don't know that this is going to make any difference at this point. I think Sterling might be okay with a draw. "89 minutes and counting." We could go attack for the last, overtime, extra time. See if that does anything for us. Go back to mixed crossing, pump the ball in the box. See if we can, just throw him a change-up pitch here in extra time. 2 minutes, 3 minutes down, 30 seconds to go, 15 seconds to go. Probably not. Here's Parks. Just going to bomb it downfield for Diver. Wins the header, but nobody there. Sterling has it. They bomb it downfield. Gordon gets it forward. Watson, he's got a man making a run down the left-hand side, and there's time. We tried to run out the clock, and we got foiled by a set piece. But you can see how that going control against a 4-3-3 just sort of ruins their day. And they got nothing all day other than, a counterattack here or there and, that one set piece. So if you can avoid getting set piece goals against you, use control all day against the 4-3-3. So there we go. We'll leave the match. Little disappointing not to get a win there. Would have been nice to separate ourselves a little bit from Sterling. I thought they were farther down the table, but I guess they're 4th place, so they're in the same position we are, essentially. They are... Yeah, they're ahead of Peterhead, but Peterhead got a win. So they're inching closer to us. Only 6 points away from Sterling now, 7 points away from us. So we gotta sort of be careful about Peterhead now. We can't just sleep on our laurels and say we're in the playoffs. So we can't have many more results like we had today. We got to start winning some games. We are 5 points back of Brecon. We could have gained 3 points on them today. We only gained 1. So that's disappointing. That's the way you lose out on seasons, by losing points. But overall, it wasn't a terrible performance. It was a pretty decent performance. Just wasn't a great performance. So we'll try to do better in the final quarter of the season. And looking at the schedule, if things come down to the end, we'll come back for these last 3 games. Wraith, Dumbarton, Aloha. Play those 3 and see what happens. Do the old triple live com. So I guess that's the plan. I got to record a bunch of games in advance because I'm going on a little vacation next week. So by the time you see this, I'll already be back probably. But anyway, just, in case there aren't any responses or anything like that in the YouTube comments, that's why. Going on vacation, so I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
There's a team they call the CLYDE, who will fill your heart with pride. Dressed up in the red and black, we an L sign on the back. They've a winger and a keeper and a great big carpet sweeper. It's